Welcome back to the Cord Cutters News Tech Lab. We got a breaking news edition of our cord cutting today happening. YouTube TV could be losing quite a few channels next week, as the deadline is September 30th for multiple TV partners, including NBCUniversal to keep local NBC stations, but also MSNBC, CNBC, USA Network, and more. Seems a lot to do with Peacock. We'll tell you about that in a minute. But also, Telemundo stations could be lost soon, and RSN. Yes, YouTube TV does have a few RSNs, but this one is probably going away. We're going to break this all down in a second, but I have a link to the show notes to the story I'm about to talk about if you'd rather read it and get more details there. If you like what we do here, please consider hitting that subscribe button, hitting that thumbs up. We break down everything happening in the world of cord cutting, giving you my opinion on them and more here to try to help you break free from the high cost of TV and still watch the shows you enjoy. All right, let's dive into it. So YouTube TV this week, we found out that a few things. We've known that some Spanish language channels will be leaving. Word is that deal that they don't want to keep them in the core package. They want to create a Spanish language add-on that people can get if they want Spanish content. Of course, those channels don't want that because that means less money for them, because most people who pay for them don't watch them. Now also, NBCUniversal at the end of this month has a deal or contract coming up that they need to get a new deal for. Much like with Fox, we'll see if this goes down the wire, they get an extension or not. They're just starting to ramp up the PR related to it. But this could mean that your local NBC station, MSNBC, CNBC, USA, Sci-Fi, and more would be leaving YouTube TV if this deal is not reached. At issue here is some back and forth. There's been reports that NBCUniversal would like to see Peacock bundled into YouTube TV, that if you're a YouTube TV customer, you get it. YouTube's pushing back on the amount of money they want, arguing a lot of this content's on Peacock so much cheaper. Why don't people just go get Peacock rather than paying so much to have it through YouTube TV? It's a little bit push and take. Both sides would love to strike a deal on their terms. YouTube TV is worried about having to raise their price and by result maybe lose customers over it. NBCUniversal wants more money, and they want YouTube to jack up their price. Now the question is by how much, of course, right? If NBCUniversal is willing to take what they currently have, it probably wouldn't be a big deal. But it doesn't seem to be working out at this moment. We'll see what happens. We'll keep a close eye on this. Remember with Fox a few weeks ago, we had a similar situation where YouTube TV ended up striking a deal at the last second to extend its deadline to keep Fox channels on, and then a few days later they struck a permanent deal. We could see the same thing. We could see the channels go dark on YouTube TV. We're going to be watching this very closely. Keep an eye over at cordcuttersnews.com for updates on this, but YouTube TV could be losing those. Also with this is the Telemundo stations could be gone. We'll see how that all plays out with it. The Monument RSN, which is in the Washington, D.C. area, if I remember correctly, is an RSN that shows local, regional sports for MLB and other teams in those areas. It's also warned that they could lose at September 30th their contract with YouTube TV, but also Hulu Plus Live TV. This one I would be shocked if a deal is reached. YouTube TV's pretty much said all these RSNs for the most part now have standalone streaming apps, and if somebody really wants them, they can go subscribe directly to that RSN through their standalone streaming app. So I think once this deal is done, they will not be renewing it on YouTube TV, and I'll be shocked if Hulu Plus Live does also with that. So we'll keep a close eye on it. There's one other thing for YouTube TV to keep an eye on. It's reported by the end of this year, multiple sources have now said, that Disney's contract with YouTube TV is coming up, which means that they need to renew it to keep all the Disney channels, all the ESPNs, and all the other Disney channels, including ABC's on this. YouTube TV could be losing a ton of channels this year. ABC's, NBC, ESPN, USA Network, the list goes on and on. MSNBC, CNBC, and more. Now, some of this, I think, is the fact that they are trying to secure a deal in place to get these stations a good contract. Remember, by the end of this year, NBCUniversal is spinning off their cable networks into an independent company. They probably want to try to set up the best possible deal for them going forward to help them survive as an independent company. Will that pay off? Will that not? We'll see. Disney reportedly wants ESPN to bundle ESPN Unlimited into it, which will cost more money, and other details into this. And maybe even see things like Disney Plus, Hulu, and more bundled into YouTube TV. We're seeing other cable providers do that, and it's a trend that Disney seems to like, and they seem to want YouTube and other streaming services to also offer free subscriptions to Disney Plus and more. We'll see how that plays out. YouTube, like I said earlier in this video, is in a tough spot. They want to keep all these stations, but they want to keep them at a good price. They don't want to be raising their price. Hulu Plus Live just announced their price to be going up in October to $90 a month. It's $89.99. Let's just round it up to $90. YouTube at $82 is already getting a lot of pressure because they recently raised their price. Now they got Disney and NBCUniversal wanting them to pay more or add more, which will cost more. And YouTube TV is pushing back on that. It's a little bit of a game here of which side blinks first. Now, it's kind of one of those things. When I used to be a realtor, we always said the seller has the lowest point they're willing to go and the buyer has the highest point they're willing to go and the price. If those two don't meet, then we got a problem. One side or the other needs to make adjustments or a deal just won't work. If I own a house and I want $300,000 and no less, but the buyer thinks it's only worth $270,000, well, we got a $30,000 difference here. Either both sides have to compromise or a deal's not going to work. Or maybe one side's going to say, if I'm a seller, I really just want to get this deal done because I want to stop paying for that house. I already got a new one I want. Or maybe a buyer says, I love that house so much. Maybe I don't think it's worth it, but for an extra $30,000 at this point, I'm just going to spend it because I want that house. And that's kind of what we're seeing in these talks. Which side will blink first? Which side's going to do it? Will both sides blink and a deal somewhere in the middle be reached? It's very possible, but it would not surprise me if one or more of these partners end up in a blackout. Now, one thing that's important to note here is, well, we do know that by the end of this year, Disney needs to strike a deal with YouTube TV. We don't know the exact date. I suspect it's in November, I've heard rumors. But there's some arguments that it may be a little bit earlier or a little bit later, so it could be October or December. As soon as we get a hard date, I'll have coverage of it over at cordcuttersnews.com. But we're doing our best to cover all this. It's a wild world right now. Increasingly, we're seeing pressures on all sides for these companies. TV stations are struggling financially. Streaming services are losing subscribers this year. Somebody's going to blink, and we'll see who blinks first and who makes a big change. Let me comment. Let me know who you think should blink first, what you think should happen. I want to hear from you and what you think about it. But that's it for today. If you like this video, we cover the wide world of cord cutting and break down everything happening in the world of cord cutting to help you understand it, hopefully help you save some money. And if we can, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, take care, be safe. I'll be back again real soon.